Hey everybody, welcome to The Remedy. Hi, I'm your host, Tony Pantelleresco, and you're listening to us live on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. You can access the show by typing in www.themicroeffect.com. Then click on the appropriate links, the chat room links. Come on in, make friends, get acquainted, solve some issues, save the planet. You never know, you might be the one. I'm also published to several different places online, flybybluesky.com, brian396.com, gadcanada.com, and throughout the internet. We also have YouTubes as well, Herbs Plus and Beadworks on the YouTube channel. So feel free to go and check out the sites. There might be something there for you. You never know. I've had one of those weeks where I had so many things on the go, and had so many things, working on here, working on there, and getting emails. And the emails are becoming more and more going along the lines that, people are grateful they're finding our information, and that they're grateful that we're there, and that we are having an impact in regarding to at least offering hope to people, because nobody in their circle is aware of what's going on, or thinks you're one of these nutcases with the tinfoil hat, or whatever it may be, And until somebody actually goes through the fire and hell and brimstone of being infected or afflicted with nano poisoning or frequencies, or being targeted as individuals, they don't have a clue. But keep in mind this. Their time is coming. It is an inevitability that sooner or later it will be their moment in time, and they will have these afflictions. There's almost a certain amount of assurity there with this. People I talked with years ago who thought I was on the deep end, hey Tony, you're a little out there, bud, you're talking about nano and nanobiology and how this thing takes over, and how it wipes out your DNA and takes over your DNA and tries to do whatever. But now they call me up and say, Tone, I got it. I'm hurting bad, And then we got all kinds of things online that are out there trying to again take advantage of you, and you need to really understand the nature of this business. This business is designed like the medical industry. It is designed to afflict you and then cause panic, cause complete chaos in your thinking, and it's designed to cause a complete disorientation so that you are in a state of panic. I mean, it's not every day you get hit with some kind of, artificial life trying to take over your DNA. It's not every day you're getting exposed to high levels of nanoparticulates from the air you're breathing, or the food you're consuming, or the water you're drinking, or in the clothing you're wearing, or in the materials you're handling. It's not every day you're getting hit with frequencies, terahertz frequencies, gigahertz frequencies, radio frequencies, AM and FM frequencies, ELF frequencies, EMF frequencies, and the list goes on and on. Scalar waves and a whole bunch of other things. So some of you have never heard these terms before. That's okay. You will. You will. The one thing I can say, being this far ahead of the curve on so many ways in this regard, is I've already gone down the line. And I've already seen a lot of things that you're about to see. I'm not the only one. Just so that we get that clear. I am not the only one. There are other people also who are awake and who are also advanced in this, who have also gone down the line. And we've basically been helping each other out, helping them see what's going, helping them see through it and going through it. And the nature of these shows ideally is to get you so that when you go through it, you're not in a state of panic and you're not in a state of hopelessness. That you're in a state that, okay, this is going on. Okay, it's not an epidemic, not yet. It isn't. I think it already is. It is in epidemic portions. It's a quiet epidemic. Medical people aren't talking about it. They just now started referring to more gallons after what, 20 years? You know, don't think for 1 minute that your doctor is going to help you here. You'll be sadly delusioned on this. I'm not kidding. You go to the medical field today in regard to nanopoisoning or nanoparticulates or synthetic biology afflictions or anything along the lines, even mentioning the word Morgellons, and they'll think you're some sort of, you need some kind of psychological health, you're on some form of psychosis or something to that effect. You are on your own on this. And I'm going to tell you something else. You're also on your own when it comes to healing your body. The medical field today, as I stated in other programs, they are not trying to fix you. They are not going to heal you unless unless you have high level of status or influence or both. If you're just a common person, you know, a laborer, you know, a person that just gets up every day, you know, kisses the dog, smacks the wife, goes to work, comes home, kisses the dog, has dinner, goes to bed. If you're that kind of person, they don't have anything for you. All they can give you is a placebo or pain-killing effect while your condition gets worse. And before you know it, you're dead in the box. They give you a Nintendo. You don't come out on weekends. And as a result, you've died and nobody thinks anything of it. We have become so disassociated as a society or as a system of people that, you know, corroborate and collect together, that this kind of thing now can go on unnoticed without anybody paying any mind. It's just thinking that this is just a normal everyday occurrence. Nothing could be further from the truth. We're not even supposed to be dying. This is the thing. We're not even supposed to be dying. Yet here we are dying with all kinds of conditions and diseases and disorders that shouldn't even exist in this realm. You got to question yourself, why are we having health issues? Somebody sent me a thing today that since 2004, insect infections have increased. Insect infections have increased. Now, how does that happen? Think about this. They've increased, I think, by 4 or 10-fold. Think about that. How does that happen? What is causing the insects to mutate in such a way that now whatever they're producing out of their in their saliva or in their protein is causing a hyper impact on you being infected? Get a mosquito bite today, that mosquito bite could last you 2 years trying to remove whatever's inside you. That never happened before. Before you got hit by a mosquito bite, you took some alcohol, rubbed it on there. Within a day or two, the thing was done. Today, you get a mosquito bite, you can have malaria, or, you know, some sort of high-tech malaria that doesn't seem to want to let your body go. Questions we need to start asking is, who's doing this? Not why are they doing this, who's doing this? You know, and then bring them to an accountability factor. You know, the idea of experimenting on mankind is not acceptable, nor is it consentable on any level. The fact that this is going on should be arousing questions in everybody's mind. Who's doing this? And where's the accountability here? Just because a legislation passes laws that the medical industry cannot be sued doesn't make it legal. And those who are passing those laws should also be held accountable and should be also under high scrutiny and legalities for lawsuits, because if they're passing laws to protect an industry, to allow them to conduct these type of experiments, then they're in collaboration with violating mankind. And they too should be held in the highest accountability for the violation of life. That's the way, that's how we should be looking, and that's how we should be thinking. Why are we all suffering pain? I had a woman contact me from, I think, Wisconsin or Minnesota, and she was telling me how she's 50 years old, 50 some odd years old, and all of a sudden now she's having all kinds of health issues. And so she found our site, the information we were putting out, she was waking up to some of the realities of what's going on. And another person sent me an email today saying she's in the same predicament. She's got 2 sons, a boyfriend, and again, we're dealing with health issues. She's dealing with. She's now waking up to some things she thought just wasn't adding up, and all of a sudden she starts, sites started opening up to her. One of them was ours. So my point is, people are waking up. Just stand your ground in anything you're doing, and just hold your ground. Just tell the truth. That's all you gotta do. You don't have to convert anybody. I assure you, if they're not feeling the effect of this poisoning and this experiment now, they will in a short period of time. It may take a year and a half or so. They will go to the doctor. They will go through the rigmarole. They will remember what you've said or what other people have said. They'll start doing some research. They'll find different sites or talk to different people, and they'll come to the conclusion that something is terribly wrong. Doctors do not have any answers for health. They haven't cured nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, since the 50s. Any post-Second World War, the doctors have been about as useless as 3 breasts on a bull. That's about how useless they've been. They haven't solved nothing. They haven't fixed nothing. They know how to medicate. They know how to sedate. They know how to addict. That's all they know how to do. And if you've gone down that road, you know what I'm talking about. Because I get people contacting me all the time. After they see a doctor, they call me up. Tone, the doctor wants to give me Lipitor. I don't want to take that crap. What do you got? So I tell them what they can take as an alternative. You don't need Lipitor. You don't need any of the medications that they are propagating in the medical field today. Very few of them do anything other than cause you to break down. So how many of you are on antidepressants? Has that worked for you? And now you're still taking these drugs because you think they're doing something. Have they fixed the problem? Chances are no. That's my point. We are not dealing in the realm of 2000. We're dealing in 2018, not 1918, not 1818. And there's been some discussion even. Some of the old ancient societies that were around that were very advanced were decimated, but they weren't decimated that far away. Maybe 100 or 200 years instead of, like they're saying, 2,000 years. We have been on a trajectory of complete collapse for a long time. And this is probably the closest to it that mankind has ever been exposed to. The fact that we're being integrated now with our DNA and with artificial intelligence. And I'm talking about these things a lot because hardly anybody else is yet. More and more people are coming on board with the idea of the nanopoisoning. They're starting to see the connection between nanopoisoning, DNA damage, genetic damage, the frequencies. The frequencies are the other big player here. See, they first disarmed us with the food supply. They put nanosilica in the food supply. They started putting nanosilver in the food supply. They started putting glyphosates in the food supply. They were using pesticides like 2,4-D. They were using atrazine. They were using all kinds of crap in the spraying of our food supply. And then when they stored the food in silos, they were using sulfurofluoride and a whole host of other things that were also on a nano scale. All of a sudden, 1960s, late 60s roll by, and women now are having thyroid problems. Thyroid problems they never had before until the 60s rolled in. Other people, I tell people all the time, we haven't eaten any organics. The organic has been a big joke. Whatever the farmers were planting in the ground, they were corrupting it in the silos or in the stores or in the manufacturing or the production of the food. They were purposely poisoning the food supply so that everybody would wind up ill. And then after 50 or 60 years of accumulation, or 40 years of accumulation, or 30 years of accumulation, or in some cases Some of you, all your lives, have been accumulating nothing but genetics and mutagenetics and epigenetic materials. Okay, so now you've been completely disarmed. You're breaking down all the time. You're never feeling right. You're not strong. You have no. Your brain isn't functioning. You're in aches and pains. You're either constipated or constantly having diarrhea. There's no rhyme or reason because the poisons affected everybody differently depending on what was in the system, what type of genetic code you had, and how they disarmed your body. By giving you glyphosates, they stripped your body of all elements that could produce enzymes or boost your immune function. That's how they did it. Then they loaded us up with the nano DNA, different types of DNA mix integrated with nano technology or nano programming. Now they're trying to sell you a nano product, another one. You need to have eyes to see here, to see the connection here. We've heard of the zombie apocalypse, and we've heard of the transhuman disorders. How do you think that's going to come in? How do you think that's going to come in? Think about that for 1 minute. How do you think the zombie apocalypse is going to come in if it was to come in? You would have to alter the genome of mankind in order for that to happen. Okay, endometriosis usually is a sign of an estrogen overload and an iodine deficiency normally. Okay, if you're low in iodine, because usually I've given women good concentrations of iodine, and it clears it up within 6 weeks normally. I would suspect what you're saying in your question. The question is, I suspect that endometriosis is actually nano, kind of like Morgellons fibers coming out in the skin, except nanofibers coming out of the uterus. What do you guys think? There is that aspect of it. The uterus would have nano components to it, no question, no question. The uterus would have been hijacked. So if there was any kind of conception that would have occurred, between the seed and the egg, both the seed and the egg would also have nano. So there would be a definite infiltration in the construct of the genetics and the life that's being formed. Mom had the fibers in her arm probably 12 years ago. She's falling apart now. Yep. The longer this stuff is in you, the more it will assemble. And the more it assembles its circuitry or its network, the more access targeting will be with you, because you'll be a better receptor as an antenna with the frequencies they would hit you with. This is why I tell people all the time, don't use the Rifes, don't use the Spookies, don't use any zappers or TENS machines. They will hyper accelerate the networking building inside your body. I had one woman did that after we told her not to. She had hyper accelerated so much that her body literally was producing the mutagenic matter inside her body. She was manufacturing it after a while. That's how far it had gotten. She literally was caving in from the inside out. And then they were hitting her with voice-to-head technologies. And then they were hitting with frequencies, and with the frequencies they were able to disable her, cause paralysis. They were causing body temperature fluctuations, causing all kinds of electrical stimuli. This is what targeted individuals feel, especially at a more advanced stage. In order to avoid the advanced stages, you have to start detoxifying this stuff and start renewing the body with the things you need. This is one of the reasons why I tell you, do not eat any form of any grain. No grains, no bread of any kind. I don't care how orgasmically organic it may be. Leave it alone. All this quinoa, all this buckwheat, millet, spelt, and all that other crap, it's all part of it. Leave it alone. You know, the number one bread of the planet that people eat is rice. It is the most contaminated with this composition. Same with your wheat, your barley, your rye, and all the other grains. this stuff gets inside because it's mixed with a carbon material, it will start to accelerate its network inside of you. You can look at some fruit. All your fruit is what? Carbon. You know. Yeah, that will work. PMEF can help. Okay, the way PMFs work is they will disengage the programming so that the network won't construct. In other words, if I wipe out the hard drive of the program, it can receive a signal, but it will no longer be able to function because the signal isn't activating a program because the program is no longer there. But you still have to detox the stuff out. You still have heavy metal. Now, the heavy metal part of this, is the construction, not the construct, but the concentration of these particulates on the cellular level, on the tissue level. These guys are selling these new products, carbon, C-60 and all this stuff. They have it so off, it's not even funny. One study is what they're basing their whole premise on, which is totally ridiculous. And like I tell people all the time, I have on my site the other side of that coin on C-60. You might want to read that before you buy into the propaganda that these guys are propagating, because this thing also functions on a terahertz frequency, and it can cause either a thermal effect or another type of effect. I haven't got that far in the research yet, but as soon as I get the research complete, that's also going to go on the site to show you how terahertz frequencies can affect carbon nanotubes and other metallic materials. Do we know what Tony thinks of chiropractors? Well, just like anything else, you got some good ones and you got some bad ones. It's up to you to determine which one's good and bad. They have their place. I don't think they're quackery. I think they do have merit. But again, you gotta kind of, hunt around for a good one, just like anything else. When we're looking at any kind of practitioner, there are some good physicians. I do believe there are some good physicians. I have met some good people that are practicing medicine that know what they're doing. But I got to tell you, the numbers are few and far between. Yeah, I can imagine that too. A lot of things that we were taught in the past in regarding health and things like silica and, even soy and all kinds of other stuff, a lot of those things won't work today. Don't have any real merit today. In fact, they will cause problems. And they were causing problems even when they were selling these products, but at the time the awareness of the impact wasn't there. I did get something, somebody sent me an email today which was funny. The guy, let me see if I can find it real quick, hold on. Oh yeah, the guy that wrote the Vegetarian Times magazine went back to eating meat. I haven't found the article. Somebody sent me that information this morning. But anyway, as soon as I find it, I'll put it up. The guy that wrote the Vegetarian Times and went back to eating meat. Maybe he's reading the information off our site and seeing all this nano in the vegetation. I don't know. We are no longer living in the realm of, happy days. We are living in a realm where we are being exploited and experimented on. The experiment is becoming more and more targeted, more and more flagrant. Okay, don't be surprised if you find somebody in your circle or in your network that is going through something along those lines and doesn't have a clue what's going on. All they know is they're in pain and they can't figure out what is happening. Okay, and this is going to become more and more prevalent. And as a result of this type of targeting going on, you're going to see a lot more autoimmune disorders manifest as a result. The only advice I'm going to tell you in regard to what's going on, if it has to do with any kind of genetic engineered material, mutagenic engineered material, epigenetic engineered material, any kind of nanomaterial, ambient particles, ultrafine particles, monatomic, angstrom units, these are all different names for nano. Avoid them. Just avoid them. They do, all they're going to do is go into the system and translocate. The carbon C-60, it's really funny. I was looking more and more into the research, and it doesn't excrete out through the kidneys or through the liver or through the colon, through the fecal matter. It actually comes out in the lungs. And so all these tests that they're doing in the urine and in the fecal matter, saying they're seeing it come out. It doesn't come out that way. That was the interesting thing about these studies. The more you see and the more you pry, the more you'll find out how much of a farce this industry has become. Don't allow yourself the luxury to be entertained out of your shorts into giving your hard-earned money to things that don't do anything for you other than cause you more problems. The health food industry has become like the medical industry. They no longer are monitoring what's going on. They are no longer caring, really. They're selling whatever products they're selling and putting all kinds of excipients in the products, knowing full well that those excipients are going to keep you sick and unhealthy. And they're going to keep you coming back for more and more. And haven't you ever noticed on some of these companies, they've got a new and improved some product that takes care of X, Y, Z or ABC? You ever notice that? You ever notice that all of a sudden these products come out after you come out with a new product? Something I want you to focus on. When you're buying products today, try to buy them in bulk. Learn to put them together yourself. We did a video on how to make a nootropic where we actually give you the means and the mathematics to figure out how much you're putting into a pill that you can make yourself. Okay? So we do have information that can help some of you in this regard. But learn to get bulk materials, clean bulk materials. Doesn't have any excipients, just a powder, whatever. You'll find that you can make your own stuff. They'll be better than the stuff you're buying at the health food store, and you're going to feel a whole lot better without all the other wonderful additives that they put into their products. So, when we're looking at what we can do, the first thing we need to do is to discharge the body's buildup of energy. We're being hit with so many frequencies, so many different types of amplification of frequencies that your body is charging up, and as a result, it starts to break down. The cells in your body, the fat cells in your body that hold water, that contain the capacity to conduct the signals, become broken, damaged, and leak or seep out. This is where a lot of pain comes in, because if the cells are not in their fully integrated properly to give support to the tissues around them, things start to go wrong. If the bones themselves have all kinds of fat and whatnot around them, to act as cushions or cartilage. If that gets, again, depleted because of a direct assault from frequencies that, again, could cause the leakage of fluid, you wind up in pain. You become less mobile. You're less flexible. When we're looking at this kind of effect going on, that means your body has got charges going up way past what it can handle. So one of the things you can do is step on some aluminum foil. Barefooted, take your socks off, step on it, step on, step off, you've discharged. Start wearing grounding straps, especially if you're in front of your computer around electronic devices. This will go a long way in removing and not allowing your body to build up the heavy duty frequencies, the charges from these frequencies that you're being exposed to.
Oh, yes.
That's what that is. So
that's a major problem. Well,
I'm wearing my yellow lenses, as you can see, and I got a light beaming on the thing.
Yeah.
I don't need more blue bullshit on my brain. I got enough to deal with as it is.
I hear you. I actually have, I'll show you my setup here. There's my yellow light up there.
Aha, there we go.
And then I've also got one lighting up my
Yeah,
my monitor. So this
good.
is my keyboard, and wow, what a difference that makes.
Yeah, it does. You don't feel as drained. You don't feel lethargic. You don't feel like you're half in, half out.
Hmm.
When you get up, you're up. I got the yellow lenses, right? And so I'm driving down the road now.
Hmm.
You can see who's got the LED on the car and who's got the old-fashioned halogen. The halogens are yellow,
Hmm.
and LED are got a green hue.
Green
When you
hue.
take the thing off, it's white. You
Hmm.
put them on because you got the yellow frame. You got a greenish hue. Even all your fluorescents, they all have a green hue.
Okay.
I was driving my daughter to her place there a couple weeks ago, and I had the things on, and I looked at the moon. The moon was yellow. I haven't seen a yellow moon since I was a kid. I took them off, and there was a blue beam coming from the moon or going to the moon, literally. So next time you're outside, get yourself a pair of yellows. Look at the
Hmm.
moon. Hey, I remember that. I remember what that used to look like. And then take them off afterwards and see what you see. You're gonna like, what the hell is going on up there?
Well,
Literally. Start wearing yellow lenses when you're in front of your computer or watching television or around your tech devices like your phones and your iPads. That's going to go a long way in removing some of those floaties that you got in the eyes, because those floaters in your eyes are also part of this technology. And as long as they keep getting a frequency to activate them, they will continue to assemble in the eye. You wear the yellow lenses for a couple weeks, all of a sudden you'll feel like this dust or this heavy duty sand is letting go from your from your eyes. So this is something else you might want to take a look at. Some people are telling me they're building an aluminum uh, hanger that hangs above them on the bed, but they're hearing the aluminum cackle with a charge. And I said, that's right, because as the aluminum keeps getting hit with the frequency pulses, it's going to build a charge up. So you've got to have somewhere to go. So if you do have something like that hanging over, make sure you run it to a ground so it doesn't build up a charge. Okay, this way it has somewhere to go. If a component builds up a charge and has nowhere to go, then it can store this charge, and again, you can have problems being around it. So you got to be able to bleed it out. So bleed it out. What are top 5 supplements, vitamins to buy from Pure Bulk? It all depends what you're trying to do. There is no top 5 of anything. Okay, that's marketing. What you got to look at when you're buying any supplements are what's the top 5 things I need for my particular condition or my particular situation. That's how you shop and buy. Okay? They've got probably about 200 products on their catalog. And every one of those products will have some kind of merit or benefit to them. Not all of them, but probably most of them. So I could buy the whole store. Doesn't mean I need all these things. Think in terms of what are you dealing with? What do you normally buy to treat what you're dealing with? Then look and see what it's going to cost you buying it in bulk. And put it together yourself. So, that's how you determine what are the 5 best anything you're going to use. What's going on with you? What's wrong with you? Where you're breaking down. Okay. If it's a joint issue, you say your joints are going, then you're going to some of the top 5 might be ascorbic acid, copper, manganese, uh, gelatin, you know, um, and maybe an enzyme in order to help you process that so your body can repair. Okay, let's say you've got digestive disorders, all right? So some of the top 5 things you might want to be looking at are glutamine, enzymes, hydrochloric acid, sunflower lecithin, and maybe B5 and L-carnitine. See, it all depends what's going on with you. Okay, let's say you got a heart issue. Well, some of the top 5 things might be taurine, magnesium, potassium, hawthorn, and maybe CQ10. See, you gotta think, what am I dealing with? What do I need to deal with? What do I need to deal with what I'm dealing with? That's how you have to think. Don't get caught up on any ad or campaign that says these are the top 5 best supplements in the internet right now. We can get them at the health food store, and today you can make a deal. If you buy all 5 of them, we'll sell them to you for $1 million. Normal price is $1.2 million, but today we'll give them to you for $1 million because these are the top 5. Don't get caught up on that. Don't get caught up on that. Top 5 supplements, top 10 supplements, top 20 supplements, whatever it is you're taking, the top 3 supplements are all based on what are you trying to achieve, what are you trying to do, what are you trying to fix. That's how you decide what are the top 5. If I'm a bodybuilder, top 5 for me are going to be protein. Things that are going to help sustain my anabolic effect would be branched chain amino acids. Things that are going to help with ATP, creatine. Things that are going to help again with the proteins, glutamine, and then enzymes. If I'm bodybuilding, these are the things I'm going to be looking at. There's also minerals involved and other things, but I'm just saying, just to give you an example. As a bodybuilder, maybe there might be a top 10 things I need to get, to sustain me. So again, it all depends specifically, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to fix? What are you trying to achieve? Are you just taking stuff to maintain? Big difference in that kind of a determination in what the top 5 anything is. We are no longer in that realm of, unless you're rich and you can throw money away and you got money you can throw away, I don't think anybody can afford to just follow the campaigns that the advertisements are putting out today. You have to start thinking and looking at really what's going on. What is happening here? What do I need? And then when you go buy the stuff, make sure if you're buying them at a health food store, you read the label. When you're buying from any company, read the labels. Okay? There are some things Pure Bulk has I'm not crazy about. One of the things they've got are the protein, which they're saying they're going to work on replacing the soy lecithin with sunflower lecithin. And that's kudos for them because they're at least making an attempt to give you the best quality product you can get for your money. So read the labels. And not all their proteins are bad either, just so we get that straight. They had a couple in there that I was looking at and I thought, why did they put that in there? And I talked to the sales guys and he says it's just basically, from an old school mentality, and they're working at changing some of the things that they're, looking at. So again, read your labels. Don't assume nothing. Today, you cannot afford to assume anything. Okay? You're being hit with frequency. Some of you can't even remember what the heck you were talking about when you started your conversation. Some of you don't even, you go somewhere and you feel like, and I've said this before, you walk into a store, any store, okay? Wear your yellow lenses when you go in the store. As soon as you walk in and you get that disorientation for about 10 seconds, look up and look around you. Allow yourself to explore your environment. You might be surprised. You might be surprised at the blue beam coming from that store and it hit you as you walked in. When you go shopping, bring a note, bring a list, and stick to your list. You might be surprised how, if you don't stick to the list, you're coming out with $200 and $300 worth of stuff that you don't need to buy. I only went in for one thing. I come out with 20. What the heck happened here? You know what I mean? Frequencies can affect you. And again, I'm going to tell you, for your homework assignment, don't look at just 5G. Look at terahertz. Start reading terahertz. How terahertz impacts biology. How terahertz impacts nanomaterials. How terahertz affects animal biology. These are things we need to start looking at. Okay, these are some of the things we need to start looking at. You know, what does 5G actually do? How does it penetrate the cell? What damage does it cause to the body? You know, when we're looking at a lot of these things today that we're being exposed to, okay, these are something you don't think about. You turn on your radio in your car, AM and FM, and you're driving down the road, and all of a sudden you can't figure out why you're tired. Well, you're getting hit with frequencies. Okay, driving down the road, and you got a big windmill blowing, and along the side somewhere you got a tower there as well. That's bouncing those frequencies all over the place. You know, like I said, look around you. You've got towers in your neighborhood. You're getting hit with a frequency. If you got people that sort of just moved into your neighborhood, and all of a sudden after they've moved into your neighborhood, you're starting to feel some excruciating pain, those might be the people that are targeting you. Something to consider. I've had people say this all the time. They're doing fine. This person walks into the neighborhood, they buy a house or apartment next door, and all of a sudden they start feeling the frequencies hit them again. This is something that is not that far-fetched anymore. Not that far-fetched anymore. You got hit with a three-way assault. You got fumigated with the chemtrails, which release all kinds of nanoparticulates from the sky. You were poisoned in the food supply, having your body just become completely disarmed so that this nano could better infiltrate your system. Then you got hit with frequencies, and the frequencies started reactivating or activating whatever was incubated inside your body. And so as a result, you start to break down. How many of you noticed the rain? Have you guys been noticing the rain lately? If you get any rain, you get this heat wave come in, and it's hotter than blazes. And then we get this cool air come in, then we get a little rain, and the air cools down, and then all of a sudden we get this hot climate again. Did you ever figure out what's going on there? The rain is carrying a hydrogel technology. Hits the ground, goes splat. Inside that hydrogel technology are incubated technologies and biologies inside of this raindrop. It goes splat into the ground dries up in 15 minutes, and then we have the heat. What is the heat doing? It is releasing what is being incubated. You walk outside, all of a sudden you can't breathe. You walk outside, all of a sudden you can't think. Can't remember where you are, what you're doing. You know, all of a sudden you're starting to get disorientated. You're tripping over yourself. All of a sudden you can't breathe. All of a sudden you're having problems going to the washroom. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. What are you going to do to protect yourself from stuff like this? Okay, copper chloride, zinc chloride, manganese chloride, potassium chloride, magnesium chloride, calcium chloride, all have healing aspects to remove any biofilm buildup and to allow the cells to become alive and healthy. These are things that, again, you want to pay attention to. Making a garlic extract would not hurt either. Making an onion extract wouldn't hurt. Take your garlic extract, put so many drops in water, add the essential oil of thyme, and that will help deal with some of the respiratory issues you're dealing with. Start using hydrochloric acid in your diet to help you digest your food. And if you're going to be cooking any kind of animal protein, whether it be cow, goat, sheep, fish, whatever, pour vinegar in the pot. Let the vinegar break down the proteins inside the meat to better release them, and add other things to it like salt, which is sodium chloride. You might want to add maybe some tinctures or some essential oils so that while that's cooking, The acids will not only break the proteins down, but it will allow this stuff to translocate inside the meat. So when you eat it, you get more protection. You're getting it with a protein as well as the other components. These are things you'd want to start dealing with or doing with when you're going outside, especially if you're out there a lot. Make sure you do a detox at least once or twice a week, minimal. If you're just starting off with the triangle or the bucket, I'd have you do it every day till you get to a point where it starts to get reduced down to a more manageable level. And you'll be surprised what you'll see come out of this bucket from the top to bottom if you're using the bucket. If you're using the triangle, again, you take the bath, put it inside the bath to help expel it out of the whole body. Again, this is where we're at today. This is where we're at today. You know, you have to look at what we're dealing with. Frequencies are the activator. And when the frequency starts activating the nanobiology or the nano DNA inside your system, you are going to have problems. When it incorporates this other synthetic or artificial technology that they're producing, again, it can actually create networks one to another and communicate one with another inside of you. So this is something you want to pay attention to. Things that you can do, things that go bump in the dark can cause major problems. Major problems. I want you to take a quick pause here for a second. We have, if you go to, I'm going to put the link in the chat room. The site's called Mainstream Nanodocs. Mainstream Nanodocs. This was written by Brian396. He's done a great job as far as putting this up and getting people to have a look at what's going on in regard to the nano and all kinds of things. If you don't know anything about what we're talking about, you're just sort of coming on brand new, go on my site, augmentandforce.com. There's all kinds of nano and artificial life forms there, artificial information there. Brian396 has got a full entourage of information there. Bye Bye Blue Sky also has an entourage of information as well, different forms. So you got 3 sites to start you looking at what's going on. For some of you, it's going to really overwhelm you. You'll put it down for a day, go back to it the next day, because it is that intense sometimes. And when you start seeing what's going on and how we're piecing things back together bit by bit, you begin to see more and more how much we've been, again, taken out of the equation. So again, when we're looking at all the things that we're needing to deal with today, in order for you to sustain your health, you got to know what to defend against. That's how it works. That's how it works. That's how it is. You know, if you are going to be doing anything today, it has to, again, on some level, be effective, able to shut down what is being turned on, and able to help, again, flush out things that are built up in the system. That's where we're at today. That is where we're at today. Understand the nature, understand frequency activation, understand nanosaturation, nano DNA saturation, understand disarmament, how they disarmed you, and then once you start seeing what's going on in this regard, the first thing you do is you reload or rearm your gut. The second thing you do is detox from the components that you've been exposed to. And the third, you just set things up and let it go. Let the frequencies fly so that you can, again, have what you need. We are in a completely different level and tone today. Don't get caught up with the organic nonsense. Don't allow yourself to be swayed with people who are still propagating organics. As they're still propagating organics, they have no idea what they're doing. None. You can try to correct them, but they won't listen. If you're around areas that have a high amount of antenna and frequencies, then you got to come up with adequate shielding to block these frequencies from coming in. That's the way it is. That's how it is, you know. Or you create a diversion where the frequencies are going to go toward that particular material that they're more attracted to. And this will keep your house from getting a direct hit. Same concept. When you go out to some of the farmers out in the county, they are shielded and blocked from a lot of things, so they don't get hit like that, but they can still get exposed. So you need to, again, come up with a defense. They have a defense because they're away from it, but they get hit with other things. So even if you're out in the county, out in the farm, you may still be getting the frequencies, especially if they're putting towers up in your area. The towers are going up in your area, you're going to have problems. All right. Before I go on, the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network, one network you might want to consider helping out any way you can. Give them what you can, show them that you care, help them out, help and share. You got byebyebluesky.com, Brian396.com, gagcanada.com, augmentedforce.com. 4 sites that you can go check out to see what's going on, how you're being afflicted, how you're being attacked. Again, support these guys any way you can. They are also putting it out there, and this takes time and effort. Trust me on that. On my site, you can go to augmentedforce.com. There we have a catalog link. Feel free to access the catalog link. Feel free to get anything you want there. We also do consultations here. Feel free to call anytime. And again, number is 519-977-5351 or independs@yahoo.com. Alrighty, frequencies. Start looking them up. Terahertz, gigahertz, 5G, RF, ELF, ionizing radiation. These are things you need to start looking at today. These are things you want to look at today, because this is what you're being hit with. This is what you're being targeted with. This is what the targeted people or targeted individuals are being hit with. Once you understand the nature of these frequencies, you block the frequency. They do not have access to that nanotech or that nanobiotech inside your body. If the frequencies don't make contact, nothing can happen. If you pull it out or disarm the particulate matter from your body, again, any frequency that comes at it will not make any headway, because if it's been disengaged or destroyed inside the system, then it can no longer carry out its functions either. So it's going to be up to you to, again, neutralize or negate the fluids or the components on the inside, things that you need to take. And you also, it's going to be, you got to start to help, again, increase your fortification for your cells. Fats, eating more fats, sunflower lecithin, things like this, vitamin E, wheat germ oil, butter, ghee. These, again, incorporate the fortification inside. And on the outside, you might want to put things up like grounding straps, shielding elements, deflector elements. There are certain things, certain frequencies will gravitate more to. So these are what I call deflector elements, which again will deflect the frequency from hitting you direct. So these are things, again, you want to start to, study. If a frequency can be redirected or blocked by putting up either shielding material or building a frequency device to counter the frequency coming in, then these are the things you need to start looking at. And now for you girly girls, because I got this term now, girly girls, the girly girls tell me they're girly girls. If I can do it, so can you. Okay? Everybody is on the learning curve here. Number one, we've never been exposed to this kind of stuff and be this aware of it. This has been going on for quite some time. The awareness factor now is here. So, everybody can do this. Okay? Your homework assignments are going to be research. Terahertz frequencies with biology. Terahertz frequencies with C-60. Terahertz frequencies with nanomaterials. Terahertz frequencies. You want to look at 5G. You want to look at EMFs. You want to look at ELFs. You want to look at any other frequency that you can find on the scale. There's a scale out there too that gives you the full range of frequencies. Microwave, EMF frequencies, so on. So, research this, understand these things. Okay, by the time I'm done with you, you're not going to be girly girls anymore. You're going to be Renaissance women. You're going to be artists. You're going to be scientists. You're going to be, spiritual in some way or another. Maybe not so spiritual. Who knows? Spiritual in some way or another. But you're going to be a changed person. You're going to be more advanced, more evolved, more developed, and not as vulnerable. Okay. For you guys who also have never had hands-on this stuff, this is going to change you as well. You will become Renaissance men as well. You'll be dealing with science and arts and creativity in ways you can't even begin to imagine now. But it will start by study and application. Okay, this is the key thing here. Study and application. Biblically, it says, test all things, hold fast to what is good. That's what I'm talking about. Reading and application. Test what you're reading. Test what you're reading. Let's test it out. Let's see if it actually works. If it works, we got something. If it doesn't work, what are we doing wrong? So let's first look at that. Then if we do everything and try it again and still doesn't work, then maybe what you've got is bad information. That's how we do it. It's meticulous, but once you have something, nobody can take that away from you. Nobody. You've seen the truth with your own eyes, and you're acting on it. This is the whole point to all this, so that you can take care of yourselves. No more following gurus that can only take you to, they're only taking you to their bank. They're only taking you to the bank. So again, keep that in mind. That's where you're going to be. That's where everyone's heading that way that's awake. Everybody. If you're awake, you're just coming into the awareness factor. Everyone is going to wind up in that realm. Trust me, you have no choice. If you want to somehow thrive in this situation, you're going to become Renaissance people. You're no longer going to be just a common slave getting up, going to work, coming home, and vegetating in front of the TV. You're going to learn, you're going to explore, you're going to test, you're going to come up with great ideas, and you're all going to be able to do it. That's what's so cool about it. That is what is so cool about the whole thing. Whoop. Oh, the music's on. Okay. Have a good one. We'll see you Thursday. Take care.